had to bust out the whiteboard because I learned some more stuff. So there's two types of gnome talk that you can be on right now. One is Gnome War talk, and one is going home from Gnome War talk. And I will get into the complexities of both because there are some. What you need to know though is that all of us are late to the party. Like if this is the first you're hearing about it, like we are now in going home from the Gnome War talk. This actually has already happened. It was on the 4th of July, but I'll get into that in a second. I first learned of gnome talk by seeing the going home from the Gnome War gnome talk, and then after that, I learned about the Gnome War, so we're gonna get into its history. So if you don't know by now, there is a creator named Crawley on this app, and he dresses up as... So here's the thing. Is he a gnome or is he a wizard? Because I'm seeing both. Crawley is a human person who dresses up as one of the two and crouches down, is covered by a blanket, and goes into stores, particularly H&M, and harasses the employees. He does this by going into the employee areas where he is not supposed to be going and just like harassing everybody, waving around what I believe is a net that you use to catch fish. It doesn't look like a fly swatter, it looks like a net that you put into an aquarium, and he waves this at the employees, whom he calls knights. Now, there's beef because the knights recently... I'm writing this backwards, by the way. Oh, God. The knights recently kicked Crawley out of an H&M. So, like, the security guard was like, no, you can't come in here. Because he does things like going behind the registers when the till is open and, like, crossing into the lines and, like, running into people. It's kind of insane. He also goes into restaurants, which I think is actually so much worse. Also, that fucking S. This is a backwards S. I'm not good at this. Yeah. So about a week ago, Crawley posts a video of him trying to do his normal harassment in an H&M, but he can't get past the entrance because there's a security guard posted up at the door, one of the knights, you see, and they tell Crawley that he can't go in there. So the video is just him going in, getting told to go by the knight, and then off he goes. Now, Crawley posted that video in like a week ago from when I'm filming this, which would have made it the last couple of days of June. And the inciting incident of the war appears to be a comment on that video where someone comments and says, bro, you need to bring an army of gnomes there with you. And Crawley comments back and says, will do. So this effectively puts gnomes as the op. Fuck, I did it again. These comments got a fuck ton of likes, and that appears to be where this all started. People saw those comments and then began what happened. Gnome activity on this app exploded. It went crazy because now all of a sudden all of these people are making videos of themselves dressed up as gnomes or wizards or fucking whatever, dressed up as Crawley, going into other stores and doing the same thing. But then this is where it gets important because the gnomes started making POV videos. This is like characteristic of the gnome army. They're making POV videos of themselves hustling to get where the war is. Like there's an uprising. Everybody is on their way to go and help Crawley with his situation. Soon a date is set. It's the 4th of July. I'm so sorry. Oh my God. Okay. Now that there's a date set, the gnome army has like doubled at this point. People's For You pages are just filled with POV gnome videos of people going to help Crawley. Mind you, Crawley, we don't know where he's gone. He is missing. He has incited this incident and then disappeared. Up until that moment, when all of these POVs began being created, the only knights that we knew were the H&M employees or all of the employees or all of the security guards at the places that Crawley would go to. But then the nerds with armor found that side of TikTok and they got all up in their garb and they started making anti-gnome TikToks without understanding the complex lore that went into the knights versus gnomes. As soon as all the nerds with armor started making those videos, every nerd with armor started making those videos, and the production value went up so high it was borderline HBO level in some cases. Shocking. Again, I would just like to remind you that a lot of the POV videos that were being made were mostly from children who were making videos in their backyard. Now that the nerds have found everything, now it's like brands are hopping on the trend, okay? It's becoming a commercial. And once the brands get involved on the 4th of July, that's when you see the actual war happen. So supposedly it was a one-day war. I don't know who won. Can't find any information on that. Only weird HBO level production video. Now we get into allyship because the mermaids have always been Team Gnome, as have the mice, which are the messengers for the gnomes. They deliver, I don't know, information. The knights already have an advantage because there's a power differential, but they also have dragons, which I don't think is entirely fair because what the fuck. But I guess if they're going to be the ones making HBO level productions, they can have the dragon. Now this is where it gets confusing because the wizards actually are a neutral force. Fuck. The wizards are a neutral force. They provide magic to both sides, knights and gnomes. This is where it gets confusing because is Crawley a wizard or is he a gnome? We especially don't know because Crawley disappears at this time. He hasn't come back. But then he came back and did a video with like KFC or something, so I don't really, and I think we've all lost the plot at this point. Also another one I forgot is the snails, which made me fucking cry laughing when someone told me about it because the tagline is snails. We'll get there eventually. But the snails are very much Team Gnome. Now, 4th of July is over, war is done, everybody's going home. This is where I started seeing gnome talk. This is all I thought existed. Then I found out about all of this over the last couple of days, and I had to piece it all together. No one was sitting here with a whiteboard explaining it to me. Post Gnome War gnome talk appears to be just gnomes. Like, I don't see any knights talking about their journey home. No, it's only the gnome people making the beautiful, again, POV videos where they are traveling home in these creative ways. And what's important to know about this side of TikTok right now is that war is over and the knights be still going. They won't stop. They won't give it a rest. Now we're getting into, like, the brands have gotten a hold of the whole thing and they've kind of ruined it because that's what they do. If you made it all the way to the end of this, you are just as insane as I am. Thank you for watching. This has plagued my brain for the past week and I'm glad to get it out of my brain. Thank you so much. There's so much more to tell you. I must move quickly. In a minute, I'm going to erase all of this so that I can give you a full breakdown of all of the allyships, but I have some corrections that I need to make on this first. So the first big question, is Crawley a gnome or is he a wizard? The answer is he is both. As it was so eloquently described to me, gnome is his species, wizard is his profession. Next thing you need to know is that Crawley, the human person, is from Poland, which means that this is an international meme, which means that Chinese college students pretending to be bird talk got me on international meme talk. Brick by brick, I tell you. Next thing, remember how we were like, where did Crawley go during the Gnome War? Nobody knew? I think he was signing brand deals. That still hasn't been confirmed though, but pretty sure. Now it's important you know that the HBO level videos that we were getting were AI. Some of them were human people. A lot of them were AI. Now just because something is AI does not mean that it gets accepted into the lore automatically. I don't know who makes the decision. It seems to be just kind of a collective hive mind sort of thing, but the only one that I've seen really be accepted into the lore is the one where the giant's head gets turned into a pumpkin. Which reminds me, giants... As if dragons weren't enough, the knights also get giants, which again brings us back to the HBO level videos because I'm pretty sure the giants only became a part of the lore once they were featured in some of the HBO level production. It turns out there's actually some debate on what the inciting incident was. In the last video I said it was that comment, but a lot of people are saying that there was another video that Crawley posted that got taken down and he blamed the knights for the video being taken down. Also, I don't know if you guys saw, but literally within the last like 12 hours of me posting this, all of the music has been taken off of all of those videos. So now everyone is replacing the original soundtrack on their videos with new sounds and it's just like not the same. Like, does anyone know what happened? I can't be sure, of course, but I have a feeling it was probably a brand or a corporation that had something to do with that. All right, you ready? Blank slate. Now it's time we talk about the allies, but also time that we talk about what happened the day of the war, because you can't do one without the other. So, of course, we have gnomes on one side, knights on the other. We have established that mermaids have always been Team Gnome. We also know that the mice are Team Gnome and that they are the messengers. Oh. However, I failed to mention something very important, which is the fairies, who have so kindly offered their fae magic and bumblebees. Super wholesome. Then we get into the river sirens. River sirens are aggressively Team Gnome, okay? They came in with a plan. They said, the way that we're gonna help is we're gonna lure the knights to us and then them. We're gonna lure them with our pussy. Siren song. We're gonna lure them with our siren song and then attack them that way. Women in STEM. Fun fact, there's actually been a truce, but the river sirens refused to honor it, so they are still fighting the knights. Of course, we have to talk about the snails, and people are saying it's the immortal snail, which I'm pretty sure is that meme about, like, just search immortal snail if you have no idea what that is. Are we talking about that? Because that's only one snail. I don't think that helps us at all. It's snails plural, right? Then, of course, we have the woodland creatures. So for knights, we know that we already have dragons and giants. This is actually a really good segue into the day of the battle, because there's an entire, like, chapter of lore about what happened on the 4th of July. So apparently there's a king of the knights, specifically King Emilio, the armored one. I don't know if this has anything to do with King Emilio, but apparently on the 4th of July, a bunch of knights found out that the war that they're fighting in, the war that they're fighting in, they may have been manipulated into joining this war. They don't even know if it's a just cause. They're like, hey, why did we join this war? They're calling this the Great Deception. So now the knights don't even know what they're fighting for. Some of the knights actually switch sides and they join the gnomes. Some of them say, fuck it, and they just go home. Some of them say, hey, not only were we manipulated into joining this war, but also there's a crazy dark force behind it, something cosmic, something that's affecting us all. What is important to note about what happened on the 4th of July is that most of the knights are not even sure that they really want to be knights. All right, so now let's talk about who is neutral. The Rangers are a neutral third faction that was working diligently to stop the war. They were trying to convince both sides that, you guys, we don't need to be doing this. They also were helping the injured. The wizard lore is intense. Previously, they were a neutral force that had been providing magic to both sides, but they said, hey, this is getting crazy out of hand. So they held a giant wizard meeting to determine what side they were going to support. But right as the head wizard was going to utter his decision, boom, he's been poisoned. This sends the wizards scattering into a bunch of different side quests. Some of them go out into the forest to try and find a new wizard ruler because they don't know what the fuck to do. Another goes on a great journey and finds a bunch of mythical creatures, including the Frog King, who knows every potion and every brew. Then we get into the pirates, who are neutral, but they will help whoever pays more. They get paid in doubloons. Speaking of doubloons, we have doubloon cats who pay no mind to the war. Their only job is to guard over the doubloon stock to make sure that the economy does not collapse in on itself, because someone has to do it. Now, this is unconfirmed, but I'm pretty sure all of these are also Team Gnomes. We have vampires, druids, witches, mages, knights from other kingdoms, frogs, mercenaries, and goblins. Now I'm starting to think it's a fairer fight, because if the knights have dragons and giants, but gnomes have the whole fucking forest and the ether realm, that concludes the allyship. Thank you for watching. I just found out that I was on TV. I'm shaking. This is crazy. We're gonna watch it together, okay?
I know what you're thinking. Yes, it is an H&M. I know those videos are distressing, but this is real and it's not a joke. If you've been hiding from fantasy politics because it's too complicated, you actually have no idea.
If you don't know by now, there is a creator named Crawley on this app, and he dresses up as... So here's the thing. Is he a gnome or is he a wizard? Knights recently kicked Crawley out of an H&M. So, like, the security guard was like, no, you can't come in here. The Knights already have an advantage because there's a power differential, but they also have dragons, which I don't think is entirely fair.
All right, now that we're all caught up on the situation.
This aired on TV. That was me. Sorry, this is just, like, the coolest thing that's ever happened to me. I'm pretty sure. Holy shit. Mom, are you seeing, Mom, are you seeing this? I was on TV. Mom.
I just found out that I was on TV.
Hi, Kaylin. I know it's really stressful to realize you were on TV last night. That's how I feel every single day. Like, oh my God, I'm shaking. Thank you so much for your gnome night knowledge. That chart was incredible. We learned so much. We got to spread the word. You're now the only journalist I trust.